When we think about the spaces of translation, of the places in which it happens, there's a number of images that we can conjure up. One is that of a book and of its pages, in which translation and the original can be both visible or can collapse one into the other. Another is the public space of a museum, in which multiple languages encounter each other. Or we can even think, perhaps, of a conflict zone in which interpreters mediate between factions, often in very difficult circumstances. There are many other spaces, though, in which translation and interpreting take place, and each one of them has got its own specificities, its own peculiarities. These spaces can be on the borders between states, between languages, between cultures, but they're also inside our nations and inside our increasingly multilingual cities. One of the key concepts that we will look at this week in working with translation and interpreting is that of linguistic landscapes. We will look at the way in which translation inhabits our everyday spaces and our everyday lives. And one of the things that we will see is that translation is not neutral. It changes spaces, it transforms them, and it transforms the way in which we can access space, who can access it, and to what extent. As we will see, for instance, with the specific case of one word, gender, and the way in which it is translated, or the way in which at times it travels even without actual translation. Space, as we will see, is also not neutral, and it is important to consider issues of space when we're working with translation. Where do we position something on a page, for instance, that translation and its original will change the relationship of power between those texts? Or what do we do when we have to decide where to sit or stand a patient, a doctor, and the interpreter working with them within a room? All of these issues are crucial to make the most of translation, to make translation work with us. So by the end of this week, you will be able to spot translation, to recognize it, but also to think about the spatial issues that will allow you to prepare for translation and to make the most of it.